Hi everybody, this is Lincir with Upper90College, and you're watching The Chase. We're here at Shibuya Station in Tokyo. Check out the show. Hi everybody, this is Lincir, and I'm here with striker Matt Horth, who plays for Leiknir in Iceland. Matt's been kind enough to give us some of his time today. It's a nice rainy day here in Reykjavik. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
So what's it like? What's been your first season in Iceland like?
It's been great. We just recently won promotion to the Premiership here, and we're one game away from securing the league title. So it's been a great year, and it's been a positive impact for my career.
Cool. And we saw you actually last year in the airport on your way to Iceland for the very first time. I mean, what was going through your head?
Yeah, well, I was just coming over for a trial, and it was kind of something where I was testing the waters a bit, but came over here and really enjoyed the culture and the people here in Iceland. And I talked with my wife about it, and we decided to give it a shot, and I returned here around the end of March.
And we were just talking, your team has gained promotion to the top flight for next year. What's that been like to be in, in the United States we really don't have promotion relegation? What's that been like to be in a promotion fight?
It's definitely been a different environment around the club, something I haven't been used to, but I'm glad that I got to take part of. It was definitely a grueling test of a season, but it's been worth it. The workload has been phenomenal from the guys on the team. The spirit has been great, and there's been overall hunger to produce on the field. And I think with that all combined, we've really saw the fulfillment of that.
What's the approach like, again, with promotion relegation for you personally? I mean, you just alluded to the fact that you could feel that around the club. I mean, does that raise the level of professionalism a little bit?
It does, and it gives you more of a, just a sense of what you're playing for. There's not a complacency that you can have a bad season. There's, okay, well, there's better luck next year. If you have a bad season, you're in danger of being relegated. But if you play well, there's even more of a motivation to play well because there is promotion. So there's more of a competitive environment here in Europe, and it's something that I've really enjoyed.
Cool. And here in Iceland, the clubs are very much neighborhood clubs. Mm-hmm. I mean, how did you like that? I mean, people from the surrounding neighborhoods literally follow the club. I mean, every day.
Yeah, it's been different. It's something that's not common in the States, but these clubs here are more like family clubs. You get to meet the fans. You get to come over to their house for dinner. They invite you over. Everything's personable, and it is more of a family type community. Something that goes a little bit more than just win, losses, and who the new players are this year. It's, we're bringing you into our community, into our homes, into our families, which is really, really special.
Sure. I mean, how have you been received around the community? Do you get approached? Do people recognize you? If you had a bad game, do they heckle you or bully you?
Yeah, no bullying. Everything has been positive. I have another American guy on my team from Seattle, and we've both been invited over to fans' homes just for dinner. Something that might be awkward in the States, but here it's completely normal and just the commonplace. All the youth kids in the club will wave to me as I pass by schools and stuff like that, and they'll say, "Hey, Matt," and that's about the extent of the conversation because I don't speak Icelandic. But everyone's been really friendly and very welcoming of a foreigner.
Yeah, what would you say, your preconceived notions of Iceland before you came? I'm sure you had some, but what's been the biggest surprise for you when you got here, on and off the field?
Yeah, well, I've never been here, so my first, notion of Iceland was this land full of ice that was dead cold, and, the pitches were solid ice and stuff like that. Obviously, that isn't true. It's, I think, been a bit more rainy than I expected it to be. The weather reminds me of Seattle a bit. But the culture and the friendliness and the atmosphere around this place is unique, even to Europe, I think. It definitely has its own flavor, and with that, its own experiences. So it's been great for me to kind of see that and see the natural beauty and to see experiences that I wouldn't have gotten truly anywhere else.
Well, let's talk about off the field for a minute. You are here with your wife. Where do you live? How do you live? How do you spend your free time when you're not on the field?
Yeah, we live in an apartment in Breitholt, which is right near the Leiknir training grounds. And we train 5 days a week at 5 in the evening. Some guys work during the day, so we have to have an evening training session. But throughout the day we just get to relax. We go on walks, take care of the daily errands. I'll frequently go to the gym in the mornings just to make sure I'm staying fit and healthy. But it's really just kind of relaxing until practice, and then afterwards my wife and I have dinner together and watch a movie or a TV show and kind of hit the bed. So we're, very relaxing day of a footballer, but when it's time to perform on the field, it's training is 100% full throttle and we get after it.
Cool. And the season here runs mostly spring through summer, a little bit of the fall. I mean, during the summer you have almost 24 hours of daylight. What's that been like for you?
That was something new. I remember the first day where my wife and I were watching a movie, and it was 11:30 at night, and we kind of looked out and the sun was still there, and we're like, it feels like it's 3 in the afternoon. And it definitely took at least my body a little bit to get used to, because when you see lightness out, at midnight, your body's just like, I can't go to sleep right now. So that's been a little challenging. It took me a couple months to get used to, and you got used to it right as it was changing back to darkness at night every time. So that was kind of an ironic change for me. But it's something that, again, is different. It's unique to Iceland. It's something I haven't experienced before, but I'm kind of glad that I have. I've seen a midnight sun. I've seen these beautiful, images of scenery that, happen only in Iceland, the northern lights, stuff like that. It's really been unique.
Yeah, now Chris and I have looked for the northern lights a couple times and haven't seen them. I'm starting to think they're kind of like Bigfoot. Have you seen them?
I have. They're elusive, but I have seen them. I think I've been here for 7 months now, and I've seen them 3 times. So they're not quite ubiquitous as most people make them seem, but they are beautiful.
Cool. And what about some of the adjustments on the field? Individually, what was the biggest adjustment for you coming from, you'd previously played in the NASL with Atlanta, correct? Mm-hmm. What was the biggest adjustment for you on the field?
I think the biggest adjustment was just learning the style of play. Every country has their own unique style of play, whether it's the Germans who are fitness freaks, kind of Spain who are technically advanced. Iceland is a little combination of physicalness and athleticism, but also a high degree of technicality. So that was kind of something I got used to. Players like to take 3 or 4 touches when they have the ball. They like to show their skill when they have the chance, especially your midfielders and your wingers. So that was something where previously in Atlanta it was 2-touch, move the ball. If we can get in behind, let's exploit the defense, play the penetrating ball, and get in behind. Here it's let's play a little bit. Let's take a couple touches, let's show our skill, let's show that we can play, and when we can go forward, let's go forward. But we can keep it, we can knock the ball. That's been different to me, and just finding my place in that, being used to a system where it's move the ball, tempo of the match, and speed of play.
Sure. How would you rate your season? Are you happy with your play? Or what did you think were some of your strengths, and maybe what are some of the places you realize you maybe can work on if you want to keep playing in the Icelandic First Division?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been a positive season for me overall. It took a little bit to make that adjustment that we just talked about, that I needed to find my way in a style of play that I like to keep the ball a bit more. I'm not quite the technical aficionado. I'm more of a strong back-to-goal, number 9 target forward. So kind of marrying that to a style where I can be technically sound and keep the ball for 3 or 4 touches with 2 guys on my back has kind of been that transition. So I think that's been both my strength now that it has kind of come to the end of the season and I've excelled at that. But at the beginning, I think that was the biggest, if you can say, weakness or the biggest challenge that I faced.
Sure. I mean, if you had to, and your goal is to come back for next season, I mean, if you going into this off season now, what would you say is the biggest part of your game you're going to address in your off season?
I think the biggest part I will have to address is probably my just my overall play with my back to goal. That's where I make my living. I'm not a guy who can take someone on 1v1 and do all the Cristiano Ronaldo moves and stuff like that. I'm not someone who has crazy pace. I'm a guy who can get a brace on a defender, hold the ball up, let our team move up the field and play and keep possession. And I think now seeing how I can do that in a system that likes to keep the ball a lot and that forces me to, take a touch, take another touch, take one more touch, and then play the ball, I think has kind of opened my eyes so that I need to, this is something that I need to add to my game. This is a facet that I need to work on, being able to be strong with the ball at my feet for 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. So I think that'll probably be a lot of my focus in the off season.
Sure. When your agent first told you, hey, I have an opportunity for you in Iceland, I mean, what was your initial thought?
I thought he was crazy. I really did. Again, never been to Iceland, not heard much about it, so I was kind of, they play soccer out there. On more research, I was able to see that, okay, this is a great footballing nation. They are up and coming. They have a great youth system and club system there. So I was intrigued and was able to investigate more. And I think that kind of slowly added to my comfort level with, okay, I can play in Iceland.
Cool. And they're crazy, and it was a big surprise to us. They're crazy about their golf here. They love their golf in Iceland, which surprised me. How's your golf game?
I haven't played since I've been here, so it's probably dismal. But I have seen just a crazy amount of golf courses here. I think there's 5 in the city of Reykjavik alone, and you have maybe 3 months where you can really get out and golf. So that was strange when I saw that, but here that's normal, and they do love their golf.
How about the food? Any particular Icelandic food? You into fish a lot? Do any fishing, or what's your favorite Icelandic food?
I do love a good Icelandic fish dish. I think my favorite is lambagjut, which is kind of an Icelandic smoked lamb. Is really good. I haven't had a bad meal since I've been here. Just the food and the quality of food has been really good. It's a little bit expensive, as with any European country, but I cannot complain about the food. It's been great.
Cool. And the language, we spoke about the language a little bit. You've been here for 6 months now. Are you fluent in Icelandic?
Not even close. Icelandic is incredibly difficult. Thankfully, people here speak English very well, especially the young population. So I've been able to communicate and kind of form relationships and not be the odd man out who doesn't speak the language, and that's been really helpful. Icelandic, on the other hand, I've picked up a couple common phrases, but the way the language works is it changes with who you're talking to, the type of people you're talking to, the number of people you're talking to, whether it's something in the present, the past, the future, and it's just, you could have 10 different endings for one word. So I haven't even begun to try because I was told, even by the Icelanders, that it's too difficult. Don't worry about it.
And have you brought anything like to your team, to your locker room, to your club from America? Maybe any traditions or anything that you brought to them that they were welcoming about? Or maybe not so welcoming?
I think the one thing I can think of is I usually like to do just a little bit of a workout before practice, whether it's 5, 7 minutes of just a quick ab set, just to get your body kind of going, get the blood moving. Mm-hmm. And most of the guys, I remember at the beginning, kind of looked at me like, what is he doing? But now by the end of the season, a lot more guys are doing it. I think they're realizing the effects of kind of prepping your body for practice and really taking care of yourself. So that's kind of been, a little bit humorous, but also encouraging to see that, okay, people do understand what I'm doing, and they do want to become more professional in the way they carry themselves as footballers.
Sure, and you were talking about, the hot houses or the steam baths and stuff like that earlier. It's a real social focal point of the community here. Did you take part in that, or talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Iceland has these basically swimming pools, and they're kind of community gatherings where you have a swimming pool and maybe 5 or 6 hot tubs and a steam room or a sauna, all located in this one building. And it is very, very common for people to go to their work 9 to 5, and then they all come and kind of let off steam, no pun intended, at these hot pots. And it's more than just a swimming club. It's more than, let's go to the pool. It's let's go relax. Let's talk about today's work. Let's meet my friends. We'll talk about politics. We'll talk about soccer. Talk about different things. It's very different from anything that is in the United States. So it's hard to make a comparison. But I have taken part of it, and it's really fun and very relaxing.
Cool. What would you say you get asked the most about from Icelandic people about life in the United States?
Everyone kind of has the perception that Americans can be a little crazy and loud. So I think I'm very much not so much. I'm more withdrawn and a little bit of an introvert sometimes. So they always ask me, do people really live like they do on the Jersey Shore? Or is MTV, is that how people party? Well, for a select few, but mostly not. So I think the perception of loud and proud Americans sometimes precedes us. But I think most people kind of understand that that's a certain select group of the population. But I do get asked, do you you guys party a lot? Do you go to Venice Beach and all that? So that's kind of, it gives me a laugh.
Sure. And I know you're a married guy, a happily married guy, but they do love the American accents here. I mean, how often do you get approached by the female population?
Not a lot, which has kind of been a blessing for me. I know Brandon, my teammate, who is single, he is, I'm sure, gotten many phone numbers, who knows. But everyone's nice to the point where, you know, they care about who you are. You know, it's not something where people have an agenda and they're trying to hit on this guy or this girl or anything like that. I think they'll approach you and say, hey, how are you doing? Just because they care, which is really refreshing. I, again, being married, haven't, you know, taken quite as part in the nightlife or anything like that, so I can't speak out of that from experience. But I'm sure that, you know, people here are quite friendly and the women here are quite nice.
Yeah, and the water, last question, the water looks extremely cold out here. Did you have a chance to go in the ocean over the summer? And if you did, how cold is it?
It is incredibly cold. I had a chance to actually go snorkeling in one of the lakes connected to the ocean, and we actually had to wear 2 wetsuits, and one of them was like a parka wetsuit, so you had feathered down inside the wetsuit, and it just kind of gave testament to the fact that it is cold. So it really is something.
Are you going to miss the fact that you're going to leave here before the days get very short and the weather gets certainly much colder?
I don't think I'm going to miss that. I think it'll be nice to go back to the States and see family and kind of get the last little bit of the fall season. But I can't say I'll miss the snow.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for your time, Matt.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Good luck with things. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Hi everybody, this is Mark Lincir and you're watching The Chase with Upper90College. We're here with Colorado Rapids midfielder Tony Cascio, talking everything about the world's game. Tony, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you just found out that you're going to be going back to Colorado. The expansion draft is coming up. I mean, what are your feelings? Kind of like in a little bit of limbo right now.
Yeah, I mean, I got a letter in the mail a couple days ago just saying that my options picked up for next year, so just kind of excited about that. I have a job, getting paid to play the game that I love, so just kind of excited about that, and I'm just kind of ready to go wherever.
I mean, do you think that's a pretty critical part of being a pro athlete, is being adaptable like that? Because I know for me, it would drive me crazy. I'd be stressing out.
Yeah, I mean, as a pro soccer player, I mean, you got to know that you can end up anywhere, and if you get too comfortable, things can start happening, and I think you just got to be versatile and just kind of adapt to every situation that you're put in.
Cool. You played at UConn for Ray Reid, this past year for Dominic Kinnear in Houston. How much have coaches had an influence on your game?
I would say a lot. I mean, the coaches kind of pick players to see who's starting, and I had a close relationship, I think, with both of them. I actually invited Ray Reid to my wedding. He'll be there, so it's just having that relationship and knowing kind of when it's business time, it's business time. I mean, I think they've had a big influence on me, and I think coaches play a big role in kind of your soccer career.
What for Dominic Kinnear, as far as a college or a pro coach, individually, what do you get from a pro coach, or what do you expect as a player from a pro coach? Is there a lot of communication off the field, or is there very little?
I would say every coach is different. I've had coaches where I don't really communicate much at all, except on the field. Dom was a really good guy off the field. I mean, we had a ping pong table set up in our locker room. I'd play with him. We'd get along, but when it came down to it, if I messed up, I mean, he'd let me know.
Cool. And what about, you're coming off an injury, ACL injury. You suffered last year. You recovered in 6 months. It's almost like you're like the bionic man a little bit. I mean, how has that affected you as a professional athlete? You're only a couple years into your pro career, big injury like this. I mean, has it changed your approach to the game at all?
Mentally, yeah, it kind of affects me a little bit. Coming back in 6 months, I think Houston did a great job. Their rehab program was awesome. Had a good doctor. I mean, I think athletes are coming back faster than ever now, just with surgery and more injuries happening like that. I think they're adapting to kind of the way they approach the injury. And I mean, 6 months was pretty fast, but I think it's starting to become a little more normal. Yeah, I mean, I'd say mentally it's affected me a little bit. Just going out there knowing, especially in the off season, I don't want something to happen like that again, because I mean 6 months is a long time away from the game.
Sure. You're a trivia question in MLS now. You're the first player to ever be loaned out to another MLS team, going from Colorado on loan to Houston last year. What's it like being a loaned player? I mean, you're being paid by Colorado, or Houston when you get loaned, right? I mean, I don't think a lot of us even understand what a loan means. I mean, what did it mean to you as a player?
When I got to Houston, it was good to get there at the beginning of the season because, if I got there mid-season, feel kind of weird. I felt a part of the team as anybody did. I didn't really feel like I belonged to Colorado or Houston. I felt like at the time I was a Houston Dynamo player, and that's who I was going to play for.
Yeah, so they didn't make you eat at a different table or have to take a separate bus to games or anything like that?
No, at first the guys were a little weird about it, but you get in there, and I'm a fun guy to be around, so they got used to that and felt a part of the team like anyone else.
Sure. And as a young player in Major League Soccer, the announcement of NYCFC coming in the league, Orlando, Frank Lampard, Kaká coming into the league. What does that do for you as a player, as a young player? Does it really force you to kind of realize, like, hey, I've got to step up my game? And we have some, truly world-class players coming in the league right now.
Yeah, we got a new collective bargaining agreement coming up next year, and I think with higher salaries comes better players. And with that being said, we're going to get a lot more attention internationally, and I think the local guys or players like me, young players coming in, got to step up their game and really adapt to the new players coming in.
Yeah.
And the talent level.
Yeah, now Major League Soccer, in some circles catches some flack for being a cheap league or not paying enough. You and I have talked in the past. You've said that you really like the way Major League Soccer handles you guys. I guess you said that you stay in very nice hotels on the road. I think it's a lot of stuff maybe that doesn't get out there to the general public. But talk to me a little bit about the life of basically being a Major League Soccer employee and what are the perks?
I think it's great. The money's there. It's getting there. And like I said, we're signing a new collective bargaining agreement next year. And I think, like you said, the hotels we stay at, I think we have to have a 4 or 5 star hotel. So I probably couldn't afford these hotels that we stay at personally. And food's great. Everything is there. The stadium, the training staff, the facilities. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else at this point. The salaries are getting up there, and I think we're getting a lot more attention in 5 years. I think a kid can graduate from college and be happy and live on that salary.
Sure. Do you get to order as much room service as you want when you're on the road?
I could if I wanted to, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to save a little bit of money. So we get a certain amount of money to spend while we're there, and I think it would cover room service. It's a good amount.
Yeah. Do you get your own rooms or 3 or 4 roommates like we used to do in the USL?
No, we don't do that. We don't bunk up or anything. Have air beds. It's just we get 2 guys a room, so we get our own nice bed and everything like that. And usually my roommates are pretty cool. So
yeah. What are some of the differences maybe when it comes to curfews or no curfews or training methods between Colorado and Houston that you noticed in your brief time on loan?
I would say it just depends kind of on the coaching staff. We did a lot of 5v2 with Dom at the beginning, and he was real hands-on. He worked with us. He would serve us balls. Whereas, I would say Oscar the year before, yeah, he was kind of hands-on too. Someone like Ray Reed at UConn, he's more vocal, like a vocal leader, really wanted to win and kind of influence that on his players.
Yeah, now the season of Major League Soccer, starts when the weather's cold in a lot of places, goes all through the summer. It's much longer than a college season, 2 times or 3 times as long. What do you do for yourself to keep you motivated throughout that season?
I think the club's doing a good, whatever team you're on, I think they're doing a good, like a good program to keep all the guys fit and stuff. Coming from college, you're only playing 3 months. MLS season's at least 9, maybe 10 months, so you got to really just take care of your body. And I think, like I said, I think the clubs do a really good job of making sure their players are ready to play.
Sure. You've gotten, since you've joined the league, you're engaged now, you have a house in Colorado, you've been on loan, you might be going to either New York or Orlando soon. A lot of changes. Do you ever get to a point where it's overwhelming for you? And if you do, how do you cope with that, or do you just kind of take it as it comes?
I think going to Connecticut all the way from Arizona helped a lot. Just knowing that I can go kind of anywhere and play. My mom always told me I can go anywhere with a soccer ball, so I kind of took that to heart, and I literally just love playing the game and kind of wanting to go anywhere. And now that I've been to Colorado, now that I've been to Houston, I'm kind of ready just to go anywhere. I packed all my stuff up from Houston and New York or Orlando. I mean, as long as I'm getting paid to play and doing it with the game I love, I mean, I can't complain.
Sure. I mean, how often does it hit you? You know, is it when you get a paycheck or when you're in front of the crowd or a day like today where you're being introduced to people and being interviewed? I mean, do you ever really sit back and think like, wow, this is what I dreamed about my whole life, getting paid to play the game I love? I mean, this is pretty cool. Do you ever really think about that, or are you too focused on just doing your job?
No, I mean, there's times where life slows down a little bit. I look back and, you know, I've reached the goal, and yeah, I've always dreamed about doing this. But, I mean, at the same time, I got to shoot for higher goals, and, I mean, that's just kind of, as a pro athlete, you got to be competitive and you can't get comfortable. I think my second year in the league, I got a little comfortable, and that kind of showed. I wasn't getting as much playing time, so I got to get a little more hungry, and I think I did that in Houston, just kind of gotten lucky with the injury. So.
Cool. Now, your brother, Jason Cascio, played professionally in the USL. You're in town here in Arizona for Thanksgiving weekend. You know, when you're at the table with him tomorrow, I mean, do you ever take any digs at him that the fact that he didn't play in Major League Soccer?
No, I don't scoop down to that level, but yeah, I don't know. He's one of my best buds, so. But we get competitive. I mean, we'll play games. We went and played tennis the other day, cornhole. Everything we do is competitive, and I think he actually had a lot to do with my success. Yeah,
and what does that have to do? I mean, at what age, or has it been all along that, you know, he's a couple years older than you, obviously had his own successful career. You know, everybody always says the younger one's always better because they get pushed by the older brother or sister. I mean, is that true, and in what ways did he push you? I would say that's a lot true in my case, just because, yeah, there were plenty of times in the front yard we played, make me cry. So I think in my case he had a lot to do with my success, and just seeing how successful he was kind of made me like hungry, and knowing that he could do it, I could do it better. So that's just my mindset. Cool.
The NSCAA convention to me is probably the best place to get any sort of education of a wide variety that you can go in the world.
Always nice to see who you wander across in the hallways, might have a quick word with.
So I think it's exciting to meet youth coaches and high school coaches and even college coaches who are all really passionate about the sport.
It's a learning experience. I think it's invaluable both from a coach standpoint and from an administrative standpoint.